Welcome to another course module. By now, the basics should be set, and we had a closer look at what makes up an Angular app. Now, chances are you already encountered your first error in your app. We even had some errors together in the apps we built. Now, fixing these errors is of course very important and not always straightforward. That is why in this section we're going to have a brief look at the tools we have at our disposal for fixing errors in our Angular app. Here's a little example app attached to this lecture, which looks nice but won't work as expected. We are on our server's dashboard, we could say, but if I click Add Server to add a new server, watch what happens. We get an error. Now, you might get such errors a lot, and generally, you might not always have your developer console open, though for developing that's a good idea. But if something doesn't work the way you expect it to work, like here when you click the button and nothing happens, opening the console, the developer tools, and there the JavaScript console is a great idea. Now here we clearly get an error message. And error messages have gotten better in Angular, so chances are the error message is indeed helpful. So let's have a look at the error message. You should find it right at the top, and here it says that in app component, that's the first important information piece. In the inline template, then this would be the line number and then the column where in the line. So line 4, well, let's see if that is helpful. That there the error was caused because we cannot read the property push of undefined. Well, we get a couple of useful information pieces here. So let's go to the app component then and let's have a look at it. If we go there, well, the line 4 argument is only kind of helpful because line 4 is neither the problematic core code in our template nor in the TypeScript file. It reports as line 4 because in the end everything gets merged together and rebuilt, so that is why probably the code then is triggered in line 4 in the final code, but not in our code. Still, we got one important clue here, property push of undefined. So we try to call push on something which is not defined at the point of time we do call it. So if we have a look at our code here, we see that there's only one place where we call push, and that is of course here in the onAddServer method, which makes sense because this is the method which gets triggered once we click the button. So that would have been another way of finding where the problematic code has to be. As this error occurred when we click the button, it probably is somewhere in the method which is then executed. So here there's something wrong with pushing, though not with pushing itself. Remember, it said push of undefined. So the thing we're calling push on is undefined, so that would be this service. How can this service be undefined? We do declare it up here, right? That's exactly the issue in this case. We do declare it here, but we don't define it. We tell TypeScript there's going to be a property called servers, but we don't initialize it. It doesn't have any value assigned to it. It's not an empty array, it's not a string, it's nothing. So to fix our code, we simply have to make sure that before trying to push a new item on servers, we set servers to an array, because otherwise it could be anything. It's undefined in the end. So pushing is not as supported here. So what we can do is we can simply initialize an empty array here at the beginning, and with this little change in place, this should now work as expected. Once it reloads and we click Add Server, now we can add our servers to this list. So this was a brief example for a potential error message, how to read it and how to try to get to the root of the error. Now, of course, it's impossible for me to show all possible error messages and what can go wrong. And there are some more tricky error messages, but it's always great to not panic, but have a look at the message, read which file it points to, read the exact message. There are even error messages in Angular which are much clearer than the one I just showed you. And with that, you should be able to narrow down the issue and hopefully solve it.